stuff to talk about. I see a lot of the comments, so a lot of you are aware of what happened yesterday, so I might as well address that first for anybody who doesn't know. Um, well, basically, we did a G-tube change for my son, and or for our son, I should say. And after Julie got done, it seemed like everything was good. And we thought we might have messed something up, but it turns out that was all put in place properly. So Julie did a fantastic job with it. Um, but sometimes when we feed him, it'll come back up. And this time it just happened to get lodged in his throat. So we had a moment where his airway was constricted. Fortunately, we were paying attention. Me and her both had a heightened alert for some reason yesterday from the moment we got home from therapy, like something was not right. And then it was just kind of like somebody said discernment in the comments, and that's absolutely we felt it. We knew something was wrong, even though he wasn't showing anything. It just we felt like something was about to happen, and sure enough, that happened. Um, and once I got his airway clear, like Julie did her best to keep the kids calm, and they called 911. And I had him, he went blue, and he went, when your airway's constricted, your life gets sucked out of your body because you're not getting the proper oxygen. So he was basically limping my hand. He turned blue, and I had him over, and I was hitting the back of the neck like I was taught to try to get the airway clear. And eventually, a little bit of the vomit came out of his nose, and then it finally came out of his mouth. Once it went through his nose, I could see his body was getting more air, and the blue left his body. So I knew that the airway was somewhat unclogged. And then once I got it to come out of his mouth, he threw it all up. It was very thick, and it got mixed with like mucus and stuff. So, and he was laying back in his chair, so it was just the circumstances how he was sitting, and the moment that it happened. But fortunately, it's not like yeah. And where we live in Clawson, like within like 3 minutes, the cops were already here, and within like what 6 minutes, roughly, about 5 to 6 minutes, the first responders were here. But by the time they got here, we had already got him from being blue in the face, and he was already breathing. He was just, he was coming back, so he didn't look great. But by then, his obstruction was already clear. And by the time they took his vitals in the ambulance, he was fine. Like all of his vitals were perfect. And they said they think it was, they were thinking it was because of they got lodged in, but they wanted to make sure, so I rushed him to the hospital through ambulance. They did all the tests. They even did a dye test to make sure that the G-tube was put in place, and it was put in properly. And it was scary because if it was put in improperly, we knew that his abdomen would like descend out. So the way it was happening, it didn't seem right. So we knew it was a medical emergency right away. And when you're choking, that's what happens. But fortunately, years ago, I was trained for these kind of situations. I was a personal trainer and a certified nutritionist through the gym. And I needed to go through AED and CPR for medical emergencies. And then there was a couple of things above that I had to take for, people with diabetes and things like that. So you had to be certified in different areas, especially with things of choking. That was an important thing in the gym because you're working out and people have gear in and things. So you always had the training for when things are clogged in your throat. So I always thought that training was for what happened to my mom, but that was her own thing because she did stupid stuff. But you guys know the story about her, I don't know, 17, 18 years ago, she took a hit of heroin, basically injected, and my sister was a heroin addict, stupid, and she dumped. So I had to give her, keep her air going for 13 minutes until first responders were able to give her the shot to wake her ass up. But fortunately, she had no brain damage. But I always thought that's what my training was for, but it wasn't. It was for him because it was for that exact situation, it was the exact situation that I prepared for 15 years ago and then kept doing for a few years. But I've always been overly sensitive to certain things. And I always have there's a certain sense that I get when something's not right. I can't explain it. But me and Julie both had that sense yesterday. Before anything even happened, we got back home from therapy and they said he had his best speech therapy ever. He was using his device so that he can communicate. And but it just felt off, especially he just felt off. So, it's that I believe that was our Lord and Savior guiding me to be like, you guys need to watch over him extra close right now because there's going to be a moment. And we could just feel there was going to be a moment and it happened. But fortunately, he's good. He had a feeding. I'm actually going to walk over there right now just to take a look. But he had a feeding about 25 minutes ago, maybe a half hour ago. He's doing good. He's playing with his cars. But I just want to make sure he's still doing the same thing. But then we have to get into the charts. I wanted to get past that. I thank all of you. This is not my Christmas tree. My Christmas tree is not up still before you guys ask when I walk away. I like this background. And today I went back to what gives me the calmness. So that's why that's on the background. But I'll be right back. Okay. He's playing with his cars right now, so he's the way I want him to be. Great to hear your son is doing better. I went through. God bless your son, Julie. Yep, yes. Um, yeah, no, it's tricky though with it. It's tricky, but I think going forward though, like we fed him in the morning, then we did the tube change yesterday for the first time we did it ourselves, the G tube change. And then, like they said, next time, feed them in the morning, but don't feed, do the first feeding, then change the tube after about an hour or two, and then don't feed them again for like 4 hours. That's the mistake we made is we fed them too quick, and then it went in too fast. There's trauma from changing it. So, but they never told us this before. Like they don't tell you anything. And I don't really think they really know what's going on because Julie had to show them how to use the tubing and stuff when they put the dye in. So like when that's my not all medical professionals are equal. So like some of them just know the bare minimum to get by, and it's I don't know. Anyhow, just you got to make sure you understand. But let's get into crypto. I want to get into crypto. I want to focus on this XRP. I think we nailed this all to the wall. XRP has bounced out of that descending wedge, and it's played it perfectly. We bounced out of the descending wedge. We had two targets out. Our first target was $2.79, which is that pivot point that it has to break past. Otherwise, it could get bounced down. We've done exactly what we wanted to do here. We bounce off of that pivot layer at $2.79. Now, there is a chance we're going into the weekend, and I don't want to piss everybody off, but if it plays out like a typical weekend, we could find ourselves coming back to like $2.60 in the shorter time frame, and we could find ourselves having to come to a layer of consolidation where we have to back test this golden cross that's about to happen, and that wouldn't be bad. Like we've said for the last couple of days, and I've tried to be transparent so we don't go down the way of being a little bearish when we shouldn't. And that's why yesterday morning I just put XRP don't fall bearish because a lot of people are falling bearish in this moment, and against Bitcoin, XRP's actually looks like it might have bottomed. It could be better to do that with that fair value gap on the 4 hour. You are absolutely correct about that. That 4 hour fair value gap is if I'm not mistaken, it's right in this area, $2.60. I'm pretty sure it's right. It went up. This is a higher time frame, but if I had to guess, that fair value gap in the 4 hourly, I haven't looked recently, but I'm pretty sure it's right there. Does anybody have the exact number? I would be willing to bet it's around $2.60. I'm pretty sure it's right around there, but it could break out. That's the thing. Like if we break past $2.79, that's going to be a key. That'll be a key. Hi, buddy. So that's where we're gonna have to look. And I gotta keep my voice on my bug. My son just came out and did this to me, like, hey, keep it down. So so we're gonna have to keep it down. Because he came out and he went like this. He shut his door. Yeah. And he shut his door, so at least he's telling me, hey, you're being a little too loud. 259.6 is the bottom of the FVG. Excellent. That's what I figured too. Just doing a short study of it in the 2 hour. Beautiful. Because that would be a perfect bounce. So if we could go from here and then come down like 7%, I think that would be, even if we fall from here, but there's a way to avoid this. Nick knows we could come back later and do it, but we probably don't want to come back later. I think we want to play out, but as much as I want to talk about XRP, somebody brought up one that's making me smile the last few days, and it's ZBEC. Can you show why you see 327? I see strong. Because for me, we created out of this descending wedge, and it's actually a little bit higher, but when you measure the wedge, you've got to measure the pole. And when you successfully break out of a wedge, the initial target is whatever the width of that wedge is, which gets you up to 279. But the technical target out of here, ironically, is actually around 342 where it broke out. I just put it down here because that's where we came down. We never went all the way down, but I said, all right, we're not going to get caught up in the highest level. We're going to get caught up in the lowest level. But it's technically higher than that. I just did that so it would be a little bit lower than the actual target. It's actually should be 342, but it's basically it's the breakout of that descending wedge, and then you measure the pull, and that gives you the permanent target. So the short term target would be $2.79. The longer term target, if this played out truthfully and it respects the fact that the wedge was a bear or a bullish consolidation, we're going to use all that built up pressure, and it would get us up to it should get us up to 342. But but 342 is the key. But I still say we got to get past 327. That's a big consolidation area. And it just made me feel a little bit safer here to say 327. But technically it's $3.42, if I'm being honest, is where we should go. That's why I put that up there just now. But that's the reason. I know there's a very strong resistance. The problem is that you're right. The 295, 310, and 315 are huge resistance tugs. I just know if we get past 279, we invalidate that bearish zone. And then remember that inverse head and shoulders? I said we're forming an inverse right shoulder that we don't even realize yet, and we won't know until it breaks out. Now it's starting to look like that inverse right shoulder like I had drawn up here. It's all playing into this. And if this plays out properly, because we're in a broadening wedge, this isn't a bearish broadening wedge. This came up from a bullish standpoint. Oftentimes the broadening wedge, it's a bear trap. And what I mean by that is you break up like from here and then look what happens. It's a normal consolidation. You come up to the top of the wedge, the broadening wedge, and then you drop 35%, right? And then the next time you come up to resistance, still within a normal broadening wedge, you consolidate back down. This time you come down 48%. And this confirms the broadening wedge. So this confirms the broadening wedge. And it's coming from a bullish positioning. So typically these will have a bullish continuation in a broadening wedge. It's an often misconception that a broadening wedge is always bearish, only if it comes in from a bearish tug. So if we were up, so here, let me show you an example. So if we were coming in from a bullish situation, right? Let's just say we did this. Just hear me out. We come up, and right now we did this. We came down, we came back up, we came back down. So we can, actually, I didn't go down far enough, but you see, we have this broadening wedge that's starting to play out. Now, if it comes in bearishly, there's two ways of looking at it. One, I hate how TradingView it makes you literally get out of the drawing tool now. So there's two ways to look at it. One, obviously, it comes in like this, and then it starts to tweak up, tweak down, tweak up, tweak down farther, and then you got this broadening wedge, but it's a bearish broadening wedge, right? I think we can all agree on that. And on a broadening wedge, you only need 2 hits on resistance, 2 hits on support. So that's the tricky part of a broadening wedge. You don't need the full scale hit, but remember, there are traps here going bullish. So if you see a broadening wedge after this, so we go up, we somehow sink all the way down, and then we come up, and then we come down farther, and you got a broadening wedge like this. That's not necessary. I don't want to see it coming. Maybe it should have been a little bit farther down, but I think you get the picture. You don't want to see like a bear flag form like this. You just want to see a normal push, and then it ends up using these levels. You don't want to see new levels create like this, and then it never makes a higher. You still got to be making like in the pattern. There's certain things that have to be met. You still have to, for it to be bullish and a broadening wedge. Let me come back up here. It is a cup and handle from the very beginning. It absolutely is. That's the handle formation, this broadening wedge. Hold on. Okay. Every so often I'll walk over there, but he's doing great. He's still playing with his cars and stuff. So, but right now in the overall broadening wedge, you have higher highs and lower lows. That's what you want to, well, I mean, it's not technically a lower low. Actually it was. Yeah, so we're good. This is just off. We have the higher highs and lower lows. And that's what we want to see. We want to see those higher highs and lower lows. Hey, bud. You want to get a snack? Oh, I'm going to go help him pick out a snack. You want to pick out a snack? Yeah, which one you want, buddy? Come here, buddy. Which one you want? Yeah, which snack do you want? You want Cheeto? You want these ones? Okay. You picked out a snack. Picked out Cheetos. Did you do anything?
Yes, it was dry.
It was dry?
Yeah, but he had a cheeky,
Oh, that's
I
nice.
changed it.
Yeah, a big one. I forgot about that. Should I just put it this way? Oh, yeah. Yeah, you
Or
got it.
did I wash it?
Yeah, you did. Well, it's good sign, you want to stand?
I was just cleaning up.
Yeah, I know. I appreciate it.
I'm trying not to.
His Cheeto got in it and it made it turn orange.
He did take it.
Well, at least he's grabbing a snack. Okay. All right. Sorry about that, everybody. So he grabbed a snack. He's doing great. He's doing as good as he could possibly do. The fact he's grabbing a snack to eat after his feeding, he's doing great. That's what you want to. That's usually what he'll do. He'll usually get inspired to eat more when he gets fed. So there's so much to look at this as well, because let me go on the other part of the chart. Because we have to look at three cryptos real quick that I think are a fantastic opportunity right now. And I put it in the headline. But I think Poly, which used to be Matic, POL. I think IOTX. I think MXC. There's a couple others. We're going to look to see at the ones that are in the same kind of setup as XRP but haven't finished out. See how this came down? We could argue that XRP could be in some kind of a short-term symmetrical triangle. Doesn't that make sense? Like we've got a resistance tug here, and then even if we get rejected, maybe it comes up to 292. And then maybe that's how we come back to 260 if we have to fill the 4-hour fair value gap. IOTA's another good one. IOTA's in a fantastic spot. But here, let's do this real quick. So you see how we've got the XRP set up. I was trying to organize this with XRP this morning. So we've got the XRP set up. See how the consolidations happen. We had a little descending wedge, somewhat of a symmetrical triangle, short term, but we have a longer term one that we showed. But you got that little setup. There's a few of them now that if I'm looking at oh, they're already starting to move out. Darn it. IOTX was only up 0.5% a little while ago. I was hoping to get that when it was 0.5%. This is still very much within that initial consolidation still. So this is on the rounding of the bottom, I believe. And it came down to the bottom of the formation as well. So makes me feel like that's a nice support and resistance, and it's all the way down at the support structure. So IOTX I would be massively watching because I think it's going to build this long-term cup. It's going to take a while. But this is definitely, I think this is definitely a strong candidate right here going into the weekend. We have to pay attention to the weekend flow, but you would want to buy IOTX around as close to 1.87 as you could. And I mean, we're pretty darn close. T-Fuel, I think, is making a very strong case to rebound. It's at its bottom of its structure. So T-Fuel is one that I've already owned, but if you're looking at it from a shorter perspective, I would take consideration. We had a major volume outbreak right here. In the we'll look at DGB for sure. It's one of the other ones that are part of this. In the daily time frame, we had a volume surge, 335 million, And you see how we were stuck at 12, 25, 30, but it was 10 times the volume right here. Then we came down and look at the consolidation, 49, 28, 16. This is a bullish consolidation. Looks like we're getting ready to push back out. It just might be a tiny bit premature, but eventually we're starting to do what we need to do. We're looking for, and it's about to cross the 20s, about to cross the 50 and the 4 hourly, which is a strong time frame for the, a shorter time period. So it looks like we're getting ready to move here with T Fuel. It looks like we're getting ready to move with IOTX. Poly looks like Ermatic. Looks like it's also in that same positioning where it's getting ready to move off of the lowest of lows, which is incredible because I thought I missed Matic so long ago, and it turns out I got to get it at a much better price. Well, not much better. I thought I missed it back here in 22, and then it did all that it did. Then I thought, here's where I really thought I missed it in November. I remember having a conversation with the audience. I'm like, I cannot believe that I didn't get it in the 30-cent range, and now it's at 75. I'm like, this is the one that's going to bite me in the ass as soon as it gets up here. Fortunately, it came back down, and I did not pass it up this time, and I got 10,000 poly, Ermatic, poly, whatever you call it, POL, when it came back down this time, and I was not shy about telling the audience. So I have my 10,000 poly, somewhere in the 30-something cent range in totality, and I'm not going to sell it. I'm just going to let it ride, because most of these are at the bottoms of these kind of consolidations. This looks like a descending wedge, but it could take us all the way out, and you got to be patient sometimes. But this could take us a pretty far way out in this wedge. You're talking 2028. So we'll see. A lot of opportunity if it breaks out of it early. How many of you in the audience own ZBAC? George, thank you so much for the $1.99 donation. First donation of the evening, or this afternoon. But we have many members of Tom's Army in here right now. That's amazing. Amazing. How many people are supporting me? Out of curiosity, if you were up, I started with 35,000, went to 20, then went to 130,000, now down to 100. Any I gotta read that. Any oh well, I understand. I understand about the drop. I mean, that's part of the bull market. You got to sit through the consolidations, and it looks like you're losing your portfolio, but in reality, you have to get through consolidation. But yeah, we haven't looked at algo yet at all. I just want to know who got ZBAC. I want to grab my other water. I've got a Icelandic water, and damn it, do I deserve it today. To get some water. Everything good, Julie? Excellent. No, myself. I picked up ZBC. Yes, I am. I picked up ZBCN last week. Geez, I such small time compared to you guys. I have 3 bags of ZBCN. Hey, my friend, I used to be a lot smaller when I started on here. When I started this channel in 2021, in March of 2021, my portfolio was about $5,000. So I did not have a huge portfolio. I mean, now it turned into a 6-figure portfolio, a small 6-figure right now, like right at the cusp of 6-figure portfolio. But it takes time. But that's why when people say technical analysis doesn't matter, I vehemently disagree, because it can change your life. You know, the opportunities. Like right now, we knew opportunities. Like most people wouldn't talk about ZBAC. I did when you told me about ZBAC, $300 worth. I have ZBAC. I own ZBAC. I got ZBAC. I have some ZBAC. And then we have to sit through it for a second, and I showed where I thought was the best opportunity, and I gave all the reasonings why, and I even gave the warning of what the possibility could be. But whatever I tell the audience, I don't believe that I like to believe that I can find diamonds in the rough, even if they're not meant to go completely bullish. But when we bought down here, I bought at 0078 or 79. Everybody remembers. I bought 3 million tokens total. And I said, even if it's bearish, I want to play it up 78% to the top. Can anybody confirm or deny that in the audience? That's what I've been targeting for anybody who's new. And I just want to show something. This is why, I didn't have ZBC, or I didn't have XCN from where it was at because I couldn't buy it on a portfolio or on an exchange I trusted. But I still thought that was a good move for the ones who could get in it. Now it could be a little interesting because of where it, but love is a battlefield we stand. Absolutely. It does give me hope. It should give you hope because you can find these, and the importance of technical analysis is we knew if it dropped out of this it would be 80%, but the likelihood of that happening this early in a bearish pennant, if that's what it is almost zero. It's almost zero. So we thought we had little risk to this trade. And I said, if it goes down 80%, I'll just buy a bunch more. But I don't believe that's what's going to happen. I believe we're going to have a 78% push up. And if we're bearish, we'll get rejected there. But if it breaks out, that's where we can start a whole new run for this token. But at the very least, we had a 78% potential from where we bought it. And we had a few days to make up our minds down there. Because it sat here, then it went up, and then it sat back down for a few days. So we had about a week to two to buy this in this area. And now, fortunately, for anybody who did, and myself as well, while the market's been a little struggling, and we'll just do it from 7991. I mean, you're talking about right now it's up 57%. So that's yep, I've said my dismay about Uphold many times. They've done it to me as well. And Shane, FYI, is the one who got my attention on it. No, I didn't say you didn't, Shane. I'm saying my expectation, though. You told me about it, but I charted it, and this was my expectation in the short term. But you're the one who brought me into it, for sure. For sure. And I remember when you brought it up, I came back on the next day, and I'm like, I did some research, and I can't believe what I'm seeing here. And it wasn't quite to our target yet. But when you brought it up to me, I think it had made a run, and then it was starting to come back down. And you brought it up at a perfect time because it came back below critical levels. And you're like, I think this one's going to rally. I don't remember how much you said, but I remember you were very positive about it in one of the lives. And then I took it upon myself to look it up. And when I came back, I remember I told you, I'm like, I think you got a diamond in the rough here, friend. And then I talked about how I had bought it too. And I said where my buy targets were. And it can't, I mean, when it came down here, yeah, it's just a crazy. And I often say with the audience, like I get told things that I wouldn't normally see. You know, it's people trust me, people bring things up 100 tokens per live. 99% of them are junk. But every so often, somebody brought up XCN in the audience one day and it just looked like it was going to go on a tear. Somebody brought it like Zebak. Shane brought up Zebak. And yeah, we had to wait through it and we had to find the right opportunity, but it was right within the moment. I think we had within a week of when he called it out, it had the lowest of low, I want to say. Maybe 2 weeks. It was within a week or two, and we finally got to the support structure the last time, and it's just, I mean, it's at a high right now, even in the daily. It's just zooming right now. It's incredible. I love it. I love seeing things like this because it gives you hope in the, you know, when there's bearish cycles. It does. MXC is one that I am watching super close right now. The fact it's an IoT token, it's in the bottom of this descending wedge. I think somebody's got a fantastic opportunity here. I've got 1 million tokens right now, FYI. It's man. Shane says, and I fucked up the bag. I need you to tell me when to buy again. Left out. I bought DGB. Well, as you know with this one, it's getting up towards the top of the surface. So the next time to buy this would either be if it breaks out of 140014 and backtest 00146 and holds, or and now that I push past these, we don't even need these short term. Those are pivots. Or your next opportunity is going to be when it comes all the way back down at 008 or maybe a little bit higher. But I don't know because this target, because of how wide it is and how look how elongated this is. This is a very long pattern. It could take us until 26 to get out of here. So right now, if you're buying support, selling resistance, so you buy support, sell resistance. We bought support at the 0079. We're going to hold until resistance at about 0014 area, 00145. But I'm not going to tell everybody what to do. If you're up 58% right now, like I am, I'm not going to tell you you can't sell it. You know, if you're up 58% on something, you have to make a decision. Oh yeah, I was right around 8. That's where I got into CAD. I was like 007. It was 00079. It was either 3 or 6 or 7, I don't know. 7-9 something. No, we're gonna get into DGB. I just wanted to make sure we get over these. Damn it, I can't believe that I didn't get to IOTX in time before it started pushing. I am so mad about that. I wanted to talk about that when it was 0.5% up for anybody who hadn't bought it. Now it's 3.5%. I know it's not anything ridiculous, but Velo is another one that eventually is just going to rocket out of here. It has to. It came down to the support structure again. And like it's in this, I don't know what happened there, but it almost looks like a short-term broadening wedge here, which is typical for what it's formed inside of this channel. We just got to get out of here. Eventually it's going to get out of here and we're going to find it at 6 cents. But that's just one again. Going to be watching. Here's another one actually. You know what? We got to redo this. We got to redo some of this. Amp's getting ready. I forgot about Amp. Amp is getting ready. It has to be. I got to put my money back in Amp. I've always got about $2,000 to the side on BitUnix for Amp. And I was waiting for that awe-inspiring moment, and I think we're getting there. I think Amp is getting there again. Because eventually Amp's going to have a massive breakout. I think we all understand that. But it's still, remember how XRP was within that consolidation after it came back after that big drop? Look at Amp. I think Amp is getting ready. Oh, I'm so glad I didn't forget about this one. Sometimes I forget to talk about Amp and it really irks my gears. Look at this. Oh, that's beautiful. So you're going to want to buy Amp. The closer to 0054, but we're still inside of here. We're inside of here. Anything inside of this you want to buy, and then if a breakout would come up here. This is an opportunity. Even on the weekend, if it drops and if you're comfortable, you can buy it all the way down to 0048. You know what? I didn't buy anything on Testicular Tuesday. But on FOMO Fridays, I'm gonna buy something. I'm gonna buy my Amp back. And it could go down here. Absolutely could go down here. But when I buy spot, I don't care. I'm just waiting for the move. But I'm pretty sure, no, I'm not pretty sure. I am positive that I'm going to buy Amp back here. So it's so cheap right now, too, that I'm going to be able to get more than I had with that $2,000. Well, it built up last time. It's kind of like a rinse repeat. A few $1,000 here, a few $1,000 there by Amp. One time we had a very quick push up where it went up like 400% in a day, which was insane because we bought it the day before. But I'm a very big proponent of Amp when it's in the right cycle, and this feels right. Did he eat any of his Cheetos? Yeah. Oh, he did? Yeah, my son's he's dealing with a little bit of a cough right now from all the stuff we went through yesterday, but they said to expect that today. Cough. What else did they say? Like, his nose could be draining and all this other stuff.
They do strep tests. We're just sensitive.
We're sensitive to him, but for good reason, because it's paid off for us with him. Big time. All right, so let me do this. I'm buying this. I bought 355,274 Amp. So yeah, that's a little bit. Last time I sold it, it was, let's see. I think it said 314,000 was the last time I sold it. Let me look it up. I like to know because it came down a lot from when we sold it last time. A lot. The last time we sold it, wow, it's been that long since I held Amp. That's crazy. Let me look it back up. Where was it at here? When we sold Amp, the last time we held it, we sold it on, why would I sell it on January 31st? What happened? Oh. Wow, we sold it right there. Well, that was smart. Look at that. We got rid of it right there, right before that drop. Because we had bought it. I remember we bought it down here, went up, down. And I'm like, I don't want to sell it, but it's giving me that sell signal. Yeah, no wonder I have so much more. It's 20% lower than that day where we sold it. So we'll just wait this out. If it takes a week, if it takes 2 weeks, I'm waiting it out. I seen Kryptonian, I believe it was. Thank you for the $4.99 donation. You asked, would you buy DGB or Amp right now? I'm going to throw 5K at one. Oh. don't put me in that spot because my baby. Oh, my baby's at 0.0089. But it's hard because I have 1.3 million DGB and it's at the end of a huge breakout attempt here. Don't you guys see where it's at right now? I wish, though, if you're buying DGB here, and I know AMP, I didn't tell you guys to buy it at the very bottom just now, but this is the area. It would either be down here or up at resistance if you think it's going to break through. There's a case to be made that DGB, I know where it's going eventually here. I know. I don't need to, I'm not tricked by DGB. I know where it'll eventually go. I do. I have a feeling we're going to find ourselves up at 3.7 cents in this near term. But it's tough, man. 1970 Legend, it's tough. Because I like DGB where it's at. If you have $5,000, I almost say, I almost dare say split it up. God, it's so hard though, because what if it does shoot down and you're just going to throw $5,000? You got to understand these patterns because they can break down. I can only tell you what I'm doing with my money. And I've got 1.3 million DGB. And most of it was, well, you know, about 100% below where it's at, or 50% below where it's at right now at the 004 something level. But some was at 006, some was at 008. I think I made one purchase on this recent time at around 1 cent. I know it says my average is around 006 something, so I definitely bought some well over 0044 or whatever it was, the initial couple 100,000. But as I built it up, it brought that average up with it. So anything under 1 cent with DGB, I'm thrilled about. Thrilled. But AMP, I mean, it's look at this pattern. It's massive. It's massive. And it's like I'm trying to figure out if it would make more sense if you would draw it like this. And maybe it is something like that and it fell out. And it's at that base point where it's about to break back. Like, I've had this argument with myself with AMP because you could argue that that is the way it's set up. And this actually fell out. And now we're trying to get back into the bullish region. So looks like to me, though, it's about to pop here to the upside. Could be wrong. Could come down to the support structure still. Could fall out. But it looks to be, this looks like we're on the right track here. The only reason I did this is because of what it gave me evidence-wise. But I'm trying to figure out if maybe this is more appropriate because that's the structure that it was set up in. It's come down a couple times. And yeah, you could say that it's formed this pattern outside as well. But I kind of feel like we should look at it like this and give it some credibility. But I could also argue how we're looking at these broadening wedges on the consolidation. I could argue that this did something like this, and then it did something like this, and we could start to look at it like that as well, and then we would look at it from a different perspective. But I don't know if that's really what we'd want to look at for this, but it could be. I mean, we might have to look at this in a multi-phase, like, hey, even if we break out of this resistance at 7.6, we still got a major one at 1.0. So I like the diversified method. If you've got other things that you like I didn't put 100% into XRP or 100% into IOTA or 100% into Algo. Oh, fuck. IOTA's up 5.8% now. See, it's starting to move now. We nailed this. I feel like we nailed this. I feel really good about this today because we got into those bearish moments and we said, don't even flinch here. We'll find the right targets. We'll find the right area. And this is where we're going to attack. And holy crap. We did. And sure, we could open up more things on leverage, but as I've been saying, leverage is not the way right now. It is not the way. Sure, easy money can be made, but we've seen these liquidity strikes on how we've gone up 15, 20%, down 50%, back up 30%. It's impossible. If you get it at the bottom of the structures, it's one thing, but right now we're running through, so it gets tricky. Commodities is good seeing the takedown because now money's finding its way out of finding its way back into risk assets. Hey, we had a little bit of a run in commodities and now they come back down a little bit. That's the way it works. But you want to see risk starting to avert away from the precious metal and stablecoin market, and you want to start seeing risk on, and that is the the crypto market to a T. They're risk on assets, but high risk, high reward. And if you play them right and you understand the right token, see, The game in crypto is some people go after memes and they're never going to understand utility. If you're a meme chaser, sure, you can get rich. But for every one person that becomes a millionaire from memes, 999 are going to go broke. For every one person that becomes a millionaire in utility, probably about 75 to 80 will go broke. That's a big difference between 999 out of 1,000 losing it all in memes and having about a 25% chance to make it big in utility. So you go from, in my opinion, you have less than a 1% chance if you chase utility, probably a 0.1% if you chase, meme tokens. You got about a 0.1% chance to hit it big. If you chase proper utility, it goes up to 25% based on your understanding of technicals. And the only reason I say that is because some people buy at the wrong times and hold for the wrong reasons, and they don't understand patterns or understand the tokens they're even holding. If you're in this community, I'm telling you, and we've been telling you, and I've been telling you, and I've been encouraging you, and you see XRP's market cap's at 159.222 billion as I'm saying this, out of all numbers it could be at. The angels are watching over what we're saying. And this is the truth. If you understand what you're doing, you understand technical analysis, it can bring you to the promised land. I'm not the first person whose life has changed because he understood the charts, and I certainly won't be the last person. But it's changed my life in a way that I could not go to the office and make what I do. It's just not possible. If you do it right, you got to buy the bear market. You can't buy when everybody's buying. A couple days ago, I said this is the time to buy because everybody's fearful. We went back into fear in the crypto fear and greed index a few days ago. Everybody started talking. You got that overwhelming crypto's a scam. I'm down 40%, yada, yada, yada. No, BitUnix does not have DGB. I buy DGB. FYI, everybody. And this is why I initially opened my crypto.com account before DGB, but then it paid dividends because there's so many other things I can send there. Like I sent my Axelar there. I sent my Zill. I sent my VChain. I sent my, just in safe. I like it on there where I'm verified for a reason. And there's 222 people watching, which is incredible. See, the angels are all around us. But on crypto.com, that's where you can buy DGB. Make sure you do limit orders. Never do market orders. You'll pay 2 to 3% above on crypto.com. Set your limit order and then let it go to it. You know how to buy in my community. Never do market orders. Limit order will save you on average. It has for me on crypto.com about 2 to 3% market value. So it'll be listed if you buy the market price about 2 to 3% higher. And when I put it in limit, sometimes it takes an hour to fill. Sometimes it takes 2 hours. Sometimes it takes a day. But the pattern's going to reroute itself into certain areas. You play those areas on the crypto.com chart, and then you do the limit. I bought 1 million amp. I'll keep my eye on DGB. Excellent 1970 legend. And I will keep us updated on amp, I promise. But yeah, and then if you guys are wondering where else I buy my stuff, when I bought the amp, I bought it on BitUnix. They have the lowest spot and leverage trading fees and maker-taker fee, and I like to trade off the books. So I'm not verified. It's no KYC exchange. So if I want to do trading like that, that's what I do. So, but what I want it to show up, I have it on my crypto.com just so when I do things. And I also have a strategic way of sending something over to this, hear me out, sending something over to crypto.com when we've already had a 2, 3, 4x move. And just hear me out. I send it over to crypto.com, my actual crypto. And then it'll be like 15, all these drops. It shows a loss on crypto.com from when I sent some of the stuff because some of it had already pushed up 3, 4, 500%. So that loss is showing on crypto.com. Like, hey, you sent over these assets, but that's how much value has gone down. So on tax purposes, that's going to show up, there's ways of doing things. And that's why I like to send things over a lot of times on the USDT stable coin and then buy it on crypto.com as we're going down. Because then you get, there's a whole bunch of things that go into this. Whole bunch of things. Yeah, hit the like button, everyone. Oh, yeah. Please hit that like button. Shot you an email, my friend. Maybe went to spam. Ooh, I'm going to have to look at that. Let me look at my email real quick. I've been getting a lot of calls from like my mom and stuff. I told her I'd call her back, though. If you guys see me going on my phone, that's why. Told her I would call her back once my live ended, which will be shortly. So, let me go in this email real quick. Just want to make sure where it's at and where it popped up. And Wait a minute. This is. Okay, cool. That's from. This is from Art. Yeah, I gotta look in the spam. Definitely might have went in the spam. Wait a minute. I used the email from the chat. Oh, okay. That makes sense. What the heck is this? I'm gonna go to all inbox. When did you send it, my friend? Do you remember when you sent it? 'Cause I got so many emails that came in from all the stuff that's been going on. Yeah, I have to wait for a response because I don't see it in there. Unless somehow it got. Oh, February 9th. Oh yeah, let me go back. Oh, here it is. You're right, it did. It was in this. It was in the spam. I just had to go back a couple more days. See, I hate when it sends it to spam because then I don't even know people send me messages. That sucks. Probably because it has cannabis in the name, and the stupid things like, oh, that's but they'll let people scam me and stuff, you know. But I can't see about cannabis. Good, at least I have this now. Let's see. Help my channel. Oh, hey. I don't like to talk about like certain things. Like I love your channel, and I don't mind showing it. I just you're welcome for the. I see all your stuff, and since you're on here now, you're welcome. I wanted to support your work. That's why I joined your That's why I joined your. Hold on. I'm drawing a brain fart. I don't know why. Your Patreon, because you do a lot of work, and it actually has a lot of value inside of there. I've gotten a lot of information for my, let's just say, holistic purposes. Why isn't it showing up right at the top? But because I'm following, yeah, here it is. So if you want to follow, this was from 7 days ago. Is this? I think this was your last one, if I'm not mistaken. Unless you put something out while I've been a little busy here with the stuff going on. But I think that was the last one I watched. Yeah. So if you guys want to subscribe, he's at 421 subscribers. If you're into cannabis, if you're into other things like herbal remedies and things like that, I'll put a link. Actually, you know what? I think I'm doing a disservice. I'll put a link. And then I'll put it in the video description below after this live ends. Let me share, copy. But I'm going to share this to my actual YouTube page, I think. No, actually, I won't be able to do it while I'm live. It'll end the live. You know what? I'll put it on my X account first. But I'm going to put this in. I'll share this on my... Actually, I know you guys don't care. I'll do it after. But I'm gonna share that on my YouTube channel just so it's easier to get to. So if you're into cannabis, if you're learning how to try to make like butters and different kind of things, more than just butters, like that would be the easiest way. But so many different ways that you can learn how to cook edibles and just medicinal purposes outside of smoking cannabis. Let's put it that way too. So I'm honored, honestly, that a few of you want me to be on shows and stuff from the audience. It's incredible. You're welcome, my friend. Hey, like I said, you put in a lot of work on that channel, and you know sometimes it just takes the right people to see it. And I think sometimes, like when my channel had 7,000 subscribers, I'll never forget. Crypto Mentor 99, CM 99. He shouted out my station, and it got like 700 new subscribers in one day. And he's got about 15,000 subscribers. He goes back and forth in crypto, but he's living the life. He's he's older and doing his thing. But CM99, if you're out there, and for anybody who's a fan of CM99, I know we have a bunch in the audience that found their way to me from him. He did me a solace, and I like to people that I have come across. You know, I don't know. I like to use what we have. Like I don't accept advertising money and things like that. So like I'm either gonna talk about you or I'm not. Nobody can pay me any money, but I get a good vibe from you. When I watched your channel, I like I said, I binged through it for a couple of days, and then I messaged you and I'm like, you need to put out more content. Like, this is great. Like, I learned so much from my summer project now that I was gonna have to research. I have a holistic book too that Julie bought me for Christmas for all this stuff when it comes to different cannabis recipes and different ways of breaking down the materials and, you know, making the most out of the plant. So I think it was you know, it was one of those things where we crossed paths for a reason. And I really needed the advice that you have on your, like, I needed somebody who understood it deeper than I did, and you definitely do. And I know a lot, but damn, you definitely have a passion for it. It's awesome. All right, DGB. Sorry, guys, because I'm gonna have to go here shortly, but I want to get through DGB, and I promise that we go through Algo. But have you guys noticed secretly what's starting to pound up here real quick? Axelar, Axelar, and Kryptonian. This is another one. Like Shane informed me of Zebak. Started doing the research properly, and I came up with the fundamental understanding. Kryptonian got me to look at Axelar. I didn't know it had a Ripple connection, but after I started doing research, I'm like, oh my God. And I thank both of you individually for giving us it at the lowest of lows instead of waiting. And this was still in here, and we said the best opportunity would be if it came back down to 32 cents. And thankfully, after Kryptonian said it, we've come absolutely back down there. We created this short fundamental formation that, in all reality, that's just a short term we just wanted to see. But we're starting to round the bottom, it looks like. So this is another one where I didn't expect to have as many as I did, but because it came all the way down to our uptrending support, I ended up picking up just over 12,500 tokens. And this is not one that was in my plans to begin with. So, and thankfully, because of profits I had taken out from different tokens and ones that I had closed out from the past that weren't part of the plan, I have a lump sum sitting around where I can buy things. It's just, it's dwindling because I paid 12,000 for the windows, and that's paid off already. I've already put 8,000 towards my kitchen, 16,000 the day they come, but that's already in a side account. So I have funds to play with, but now it's time to build it back up. I don't think you missed Axelar yet. Honestly, it's nowhere near where it's going to go. When Kryptonian brought it to our attention, it was sometime in the beginning to mid-January, if I'm not mistaken. But it had made a run up. It was in the 50-cent range. And then it made a run up to like 70-something, 75. But we just waited. We waited for the big purchase until it came down. We know our structure. So when you're waiting to buy something, if you haven't bought, you just find where it makes sense. And this made sense to floor because it got a resistance. We made the short-term pattern because it fell below or was at least at it. We decided if it comes down here, we're going to pile up. And I did. Oh my God. MXC is ridiculously cheap. And we'll go over that one more time before I leave. It's only got 2.66 billion total tokens. It's max supply. And right now it's got 2.44 billion in supply. So that means there's like 220 million outstanding. That's it. And that's an Internet of Things token. It's incredible that it's so cheap. It's like number 5,000 something in the coin market cap. But it's legitimately like in the top 12 of IoT tokens, like what you should own. Because it works with the mainframe. And what that means is it can connect applications, it can connect devices, connect smart homes, smart cities, smart cars, smart roads, anything that's to do with the smart, which is also with the digital ID set within the Internet of Things, which Poly is why you have to own that. They created the digital ID and the Polygon, the Poly ID back. I'm sure some of you know from when we covered it a couple years ago, but that's why it's a big one. But MXC, it's unbelievable what it's doing, how low and how cheap. We got it at the cheapest it's been when we bought it. The cheapest. It broke out of that descending wedge prematurely, and we bought it at those lowest of lows, and we said to hell. DGB is nonprofit, 100%. 100% it is tax exempt. I did. Have I ever said that? I don't think I've ever brought that up. Because it's a nonprofit, you can get tax write-offs for it. I probably should have brought that up before. I'm such a dope. That would have been a huge selling point to some of you in the audience, wouldn't it have? I'm almost positive that would have been a huge selling point in the audience. But yeah, it is a tax exempt. I mean, as far as how much we can exempt out of our taxes, I mean, it's about what you know, but the company in itself is nonprofit, which is what drew me to it initially. So we've got, I can't believe how beautiful, I can believe it. Yeah, I bought it in, yep. I think it's 5031C. That's what it is, 5031C. That's exactly what it is. That's what you have to find. We got some smart people in this audience. You know, it's come to my attention that maybe I should have been more giving with information for tax time, like some of the software you can use and things like that. Maybe I'll do more of a due diligence this year and share some of my stuff. Would that be okay with some of you? If I'm like, hey, this is how I do, this is what I use to help me with the taxes and calculate everything, or would that be stupid? I get the questions all the time. I have software that everybody can use the same kind when it comes to time. I always thought about it, but I don't want to act like I'm promoting something when I'm not technically promoting. It's like how I do with the exchanges. I'm not technically promoting an exchange, but it's what I use. So I put it up there. Would love tax info. Hey, this is enough for me. Just one person saying it. Yes, Tom, I come here to learn and give what I can. You don't have to give anything, Shane. You know what I believe? You came in with the information of ZBAC, and you've made the audience, if they were buying when, you know, with the understanding of what we learned after you gave us the ability to see that token, and after doing research, and the audience did research during the lives with us, and being a part of it, and me and you going back and forth, I think you've done the audience a due diligence and myself. 58% on 3 million tokens. You know, you guys can do the math. So that's a huge donation, and not just me, but to the community as well. So I said it's up 58%. You guys can sell it if you want. But yeah, so I'm gonna get all my stuff together, and hopefully by the end of this month I will start talking about that, because March will be tax season. I always do the extension, FYI. DGB is a great buy. It's still in the descending structure. Shane, I understand, but I don't think you technically, maybe you're going to outperform in DGB and it's just a momentary thing. Like, that's why for me, I try not to sell out of one thing to buy another one that I crave. You know, but I'm sure you made profit before you switched over as well. So, but yeah, it's crazy cheap right now. But I think there's reasons why things happen. But with Axelar, I don't think anybody's missed it yet. It's just you'd want to be as close to the trend. Remember, it's your friend. And that's the support going all the way back in time to 2023. So 2 years later, almost a year and a half. Revalidated it. Now we're just waiting for the push out. And I believe it's working on this big cup here in time. So if you think you missed it, you haven't. This is like 5x away from where I think it's going. And I just can't believe that I have 12,500 Axelar. There's certain things I can't believe, because I wouldn't even have known about Axelar. Like ZBAC, I wouldn't even have known about if it wasn't for Shane. Axelar with Kryptonian, it's like, but then you want to know what got me with Axelar? And I remember when I first looked it up on here, I'm like, wait a minute, what? It's its max total supply. Like, you don't get many of crypto tokens that have these little tokens. 1.19 billion. 1.19 million, that's it. Like, that's such a small, that's 10 times, that's like 9 times less, or 90 times less than what XR or Ripple has. You know, it's when you start seeing some things like that, certain things stand out. Yeah, now ZBAC has more tokens, but it's more like like an XR, it's still less than XRP, but circulating supply of 50.88 billion and max supply of ZBC. What is the max supply? Why isn't it saying that? Yeah, max supply is 50. Look at the circulating supply. Oh, that's Axelar. What is going on here? Why did it go back to there? I'm gonna say I think then. Yeah, there we go. 71.8 billion is the max total supply for ZBAC. And right now about 65% is in circulation, 50.88 billion. So about 25% less total tokens than Ripple will have. If you want to put it in perspective, Dogecoin has about 140 plus billion, and it's creating more every single day. At least this has a max supply. So we've gotten through all of that. We're going to go to MXC one more time, because I'm going to have to end this. I want to go back to family time and yada, 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 so on and so forth. I think the 187 of you that are still here. But I want to talk about Algo at 30 cents. Again, these are breaking out of a descending wedge, just like XRP. But I think I think I'm more comfortable now looking at these in the shorter time frames and starting to do this. I think we created something bigger like this. So if we didn't break out of here, there's the chance on all of these we can come back down. But now that it's breaking out, I think this is what's happening, and this is the key for algo. So if you're asking me where to buy anything on this downtrending support line, if it back tests, but you want to be on the top side or all the way back down to the bottom of this descending, almost looks like they're forming these little structures like this on the back end, almost like symmetrical, or it's so hard to say. Anyhow, this is algo. But algo, as I've stated a million times, I don't care where the price is at right now. And if it drops, I hope it does so I can buy more. I have 31,000 or 32,000 algo. Never thought I would have that many. But I believe it's building that same W. It's got the Hank Hill ass syndrome, flat ass. Or these are boobs. I mean, I've heard both sides of it. But I believe this is working on a massive big W reversal. And I think it's in the beginning stages of where we called out XRP so long ago. And we said, I know it's going to look crazy, but this is what we think is happening. And we drew this out a long time ago on XRP. And I said, it looks crazy until it doesn't. We had a massive W. Where's my chart with the W? I might have deleted it so that it would not block everything. But I had a big W drawn on XRP. Oh, no, I put it on the XRP market cap chart. That's what it was, right here. And when I drew this out, I said, I know it looks crazy, but once it happens, and we were down at 27 billion when it was before that. We drew this out and said it looks crazy now. So I have charted Axelar, Jose. I did do Axelar. I can go back to it very quickly because I do have to go. But see how XRP's chart was with that big W? A few of them are just like that. Now, Algo has this massive potential. So I said in a video a couple weeks ago, if you missed XRP to buy 10,000 tokens at 34 cents, Algo, it got down to 27 or 26, maybe 25, but you had that same opportunity as for XRP as you do for Algo before XRP made the run. And Algo right now is at 30.5 cents. I bought some around this area, but I bought a lot below this area as well. So, but I have 32,000 roughly tokens of Algo. And then IOTA is another one that has this massive W forming. I mean, I'm just saying, it has this massive pattern, guys. And these are IoT tokens. So this is dirt fucking cheap. Dirt cheap. And it's IOTA. It's a mainframe token. Dirt cheap. So if you missed XRP, I'm just saying these are 10x potential, and they're not even close to back to their top. If this went 10x, IOTA's been over $6. It's only got like what is it, 9 billion or 6 billion tokens or something? Oh, 4.6 billion. Incredibly low amount. Algo's higher. Algo's higher. Algo has 10 billion total. So, I mean, you're talking about lower total circulating supplies as far as crypto goes. HBAR, again, a great one again. But let me go to Axelar real quick because I got to go. Got two things. I'm going to fly through this and then I got to go. I appreciate all of you. But Axelar, Jose, it's bounced off of our support structure. Now we're looking to see if it can break back up, and it should here soon. And eventually we're going to find ourselves at that 86 point mark. 86 cent mark, but I believe it's working on a big cup here now. I think it's going to find itself up here in time. Obviously, this pattern could go all the way out until December of this year, and it could bring us as low as about 20 cents. No, as low as 31 cents. So just be aware. I have a huge stiffy right now about all of this action, says Frenchie. You and I did I say my nipples were hard because of all of this? No. No offense to my audience. How some of my audience might want to see him. I don't know. We're pretty freaky, some of us. Or some of you. Anyhow. Z back up 23.8. God, I love it. Matic's starting to move a little bit. Canto is another one that I would keep on the burner here. Oh, man, I wish my Canto friend was in here. Because, again, This could be a key indicator because it flies out ahead. As long as we don't lose this uptrend, we're going to have another massive volatile surge here in Canto. It does it all the time. So just pay attention to that. It filled, I mean, it prematurely ran out, which was the only problem. So it came back down to retest its areas. But MXC, and then I got to go. MXC, we have this massive descending wedge that it came outside of. We decided to buy it when it came through. And yeah, I decided to buy it right around the 003 level. And I said I'm buying it on the hopes that this is a right shoulder and that this descending wedge will overall play out. We thought it was an overzealous sell-off, but only time, will be seen on this. But the thing that made me comfortable with this decision is the fact that when you look at its chart with volume, what do you notice? When it finally had that break up before this massive drop down, it had the biggest volume spike in the history of this token. That means something, or at least in the history of the chart. And this was its big breakthrough zone in 21. It has more volume here than it did in 21 on that candle. On this particular exchange, we had 3.42 billion tokens on this candle before we dropped off the face of the earth. But the total combined volume was only about 1.4 billion. So it was 1/3, basically. We had 1/3 the volume on the drop as we had on the pump, but yet it overshined the pump. These are very bullish circumstances here. When you have crashing price and crashing volume, that is so super bullish. And it never even broke past this area. So we'll see. We'll see. But I'm XRP Future Millionaire. I appreciate all of you. I'll try to come back later. As long as everything's going good, you might see me again on a live tonight as the week ends. XRP, XLM, and HBAR are fantastic. All three of them. I feel like we went through DGB for a minute. Up 4%. Yeah, we went through DGB a little bit. We know what we're trying to break out of. Okay. We never looked at XLM. It's up 4.3%. XLM is trying to break and hold. It already broke out of the first range, but it's trying to get above this top resistance area. Once we get past this area at 364 and hold, now it's got a first target of 50.5. This stuff looks like it's going to happen. This looks like it's going to happen. It really, really does. And then HBAR up 4.66%. HBAR gave an opportunity again for anybody who wasn't in. It came down and we talked about that broadening wedge a couple days ago. And now it's powering through. And the optics say we have that broadening wedge. But remember, on all of these, I want you to go on your chart. If you're copying my charts, there's one thing you have to do. Can you promise? Can I ask a question? Is there one person in here who sees my charts and they simulate it on their own? I hope there's at least one person who does that. Even if you have your own charts, you at least simulate my motions so that you can see even when I'm not live. If there's one person forever, out of curiosity, I know some of you do, but I want you to do one thing on most of your cryptos, and I'll tell you, and then I'm going to leave. If one person says they do what I do. If not, then I guess it's, well, I'll still say it. But if you made it until the end, will you type in 222 in my comments? Honestly, can anybody type in 222 if you made it till the end? So love song says I try. Excellent. So I want you to do this on your chart. If you have an MXC chart or anything, or not MXC, if you have a HBAR chart or any other ones, make sure you guys are doing this. Make sure you're going to the resistance on these broadening wedges and you come down through now because it's going to show you that resistance structure and we're getting very close. See on HBAR how close we are? We're getting very close and you're going to want to line this up with the resistance of each of these peaks. So let me get the arrow out. You want to go resistance, peak 1. You follow it down to the next peak. This wasn't a peak. Next peak, next peak. This never came up. Next peak, it's hitting right now. So this is your breakout confirmation. If this breaks out, your technical move up is going to be to retest the zone up here. So that's where we're going to get up here, but we can't get up there until we break and hold this area. So you might get a volatile swing up, back down, consolidation. So just pay attention, but you have to draw those across in your charts. You have to draw them across right now. I don't care about the lower support because it's already being defined. You don't have to go through and micromanage it, but you have to micromanage that if you want to keep updated on the charts so that you can understand why we're at a critical resistance point on some of these, and on others, they've already broke past it. We did this. I showed you the update on the XRP chart to draw it in. Oh no, did I not do it on the XRP chart? I did it on most of the other ones. Oh no, XRP already broke out on the first area. No, see, you could do it on XRP as well. I did do it. I went to the other one. I remember now. We did do it right here. So this is what I mean. You got to draw it in on all of this. This one XRP is pushing up, but it could still get up to like 292 before it gets rejected. So I just want you guys to have all the information. And then still remain positive because the XRP Bitcoin pairing looks like it bottomed versus Bitcoin. We had that golden cross and a back test, and we're very confident, and that's what got us in this very bullish light with XRP. And I kept saying, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid until you have to be afraid. Have a blessed morning, everybody. Thank you so much. I really appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you for the concern, the prayers, and good wishes and fortunes for my son. And we'll meet again soon. I can't thank you all enough for being part of this community.